What's up, everybody? It's Ivan with Trouts Fly Fishing, joined by Rick, digitally. Well, Rick is going to talk about some warm water flies. So, obviously, as we progressed through the month of April and then into the beginning of May, there's quite a bit of uncertainty. And so, this is another Five Flies where we're taking a slightly different approach, and we sent Rick out to harass some locals of all sorts of warm water locals on the South Platte, on the Front Range, and he put together a little GoPro footage, a little iPhone footage for us. So let's hit it. Rick, that was a pretty big carp you just got there.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Right now the fish are getting ready to go into the spawn, so a lot of the females are carrying a lot of extra weight from big egg sacs. So now is probably the best time of the year to see those big fish, over 20 pounds, in the river and in some still water as they're carrying eggs and getting ready to do their spawning ritual here in a couple weeks.
Nice. So as you can probably tell from the footage, this is a Front Range warm water centric edition of Five Flies. Whether you're looking to get out after work, whether you're trying not to go in the mountains and reduce your travel, or just taking advantage of some really good warm water fishing that we have this time of year as things start to warm up. May is a great time to be out there on the Front Range getting after those warm water species. So Rick, talk to us a little bit about fly choice, not necessarily exact flies, but sort of your game plan, what you look for in the month of May when it comes to the warm water species here on the Front Range.
Awesome. The really cool thing about April and May here in the Denver metro area is just the diversity of species. Because we're warming up quite a bit, but we're not super hot yet, you kind of have the best of both worlds. There's still some trout opportunities in both Stillwater and creeks on the Denver South Platte and a lot of the lakes and ponds and in some of the tributary streams. You have those kind of cool water species like walleye that are starting to wake up and get aggressive and chase flies. The true warm water species, bass, perch, panfish, that kind of thing, they're waking up and getting active. And of course, carp, they're active throughout the year if temperatures are appropriate. So these kind of middle temperatures, they're leading into the spawn, they're feeding up, getting ready to spawn. It can be some of the best carp fishing of the year. So we're spoiled in Denver. The day that I filmed this, it was one single day. I hit 13 ponds, and all of them were less than 25 minutes from my house. Granted, it was a little windy, and some of them didn't pay off. A lot of them paid off great, and caught quite a few different species, both out of the ponds and the river. And thankfully, the river was fishing extra fantastic that day. So you can be on really good fishing and only have to drive 10 minutes. You don't have that in a lot of places. You may have to do things a little differently, think a little differently, try some new techniques. But learning is the most fun part of fly fishing. If it was easy and the same all the time, it would get boring. So there's a lot of variety out there to explore, and you don't need a ton of extra gear to do it. Most of these species, your 9'5" weight trout rod will work just fine. Carp may be one that pushed that boundary a little bit. Wiper and pike, to a degree, will push that boundary probably even more. But for bass, perch, walleye, crappie, sunfish, you can go have fun on what you have. And flies are simple. You don't need weight. You don't need indicators. You don't need bobbers. You don't need floating. You don't need all this extra stuff. You just tie your fly on the end of a piece of tippet onto your leader, and you're ready to go fishing. So lots of fun, lots of cool things to explore. And it's a mixed bag. You never know what you're going to catch. You could catch a crappie on one cast and a bass on the next one and a carp on the third one. And it's variety, and it's surprising. So it's a ton of fun.
Life's like a box of chocolates. Yeah.
Yep. You never know.
Yep. Indeed. All right, let's get to the flies. Fly number one is the mini Mopsicle, size 16, and we're recommending all colors.
So there's all kinds of colors. There's chartreuse and orange that are real bright, and there's kind of a dull gray. And for those freshly stocked trout in a lot of the Denver lakes and ponds, in addition to crappie and panfish, crappie. Tomato. Yeah. These things work great. I caught a bunch of freshly stocked trout on these. Of course, the freshly stocked trout will eat just about anything. But for bluegill, as they're kind of waking up, they're not as aggressive as they will be in the summer. So all you need to do is find some structure, find a submerged log, find a chopping board, just twitch them out and just smack at it. And I don't care who you are. Bluegill are fun. They like to eat flies. They're pretty. They're feisty. They may be tiny, but someone once told me if bluegill got to be 5 pounds, we would have tournaments for them instead of bass. So go catch some bluegill. It's a blast.
Yeah, they are super pretty too. Like underrated fish in terms of how attractive they are.
And they're kind of easy to catch in most cases. So
right.
If you're learning fly fish, you have kids out, it's going to give you some success.
Yeah, except for that one time in Boulder when that was. Well, we won't talk about that.
Yeah, those were bigger bluegill. They were smarter.
Yeah. Fly number 2 is the old reliable, the Clouser minnow in the white and chartreuse. What did Lefty Cray say, Rick?
If it ain't chartreuse, it ain't no use. But I like purple too.
White and red.
Purple's working, and the baby smallmouth. Clouser minnows catch fish. They catch trout. They catch bass. They catch everything. In the Denver South Platte, this has been probably my best producing smallmouth bass fly this year and most of last year. When they get hot for it, they chase it down and they whack it. Perch will eat it, wiper will eat it, walleye will eat it. I've seen carp eat them too. Everything eats a clouser minnow. Strip them slow first and speed up your retrieve as you go. Slower is always better in my experience, but sometimes they like it fast. So try different retrieves. You'll catch fish.
Are you keeping a longer leader, like longer than 9 feet?
I'm using sink tips now. After fishing with Josh Graffam from Umpqua a bunch last year, he has got me on the Euro style lock fishing, and I never thought it would work for warm water species, but watching him fish it, it works for warm water species very well. So I fish a Type 6 short sink tip, and I like that Type 6 short sink tip because I have a little bit more control on riprap dams, so I'm not having to fight pulling my line out of the riprap as it sinks. And then finding the sink rate till I'm close to the bottom, and then strip, pause, finding that really slow kind of wounded bait fish presentation. It works.
Nice. Cool. All right, that's fly number 2. Fly number 3 is the Tungsten Jig Bugger in black and also in grizzly. Take your pick.
Woolly buggers, they catch everything. The bigger sizes in black are one of my favorite bass flies for some of the city parks here in town. The littler ones, this is I think a size 6 in black. Caught some really big carp in the video on this fly. They were pretty jazzed for it. Caught some little carp on the video on this fly too. The jigging action really gives it that kind of defensive leech crayfish action. It's heavy, so it gets down in the pocket quickly if you're sight fishing carp. It has a ton of movement. Trout love woolly buggers too. This is probably the most species versatile fly for freshwater on the planet. It will catch everything.
Yeah, I mean clouser minnow and buggers. Those are 2 of the most versatile flies ever.
Throw in like a parachute Adams, and you could probably survive on those 3 flies for the rest of your life.
That's the doomsday 5 flies right there. All right, that's fly number 3. Fly number 4, Barry's carp fly, an old classic, a favorite on 5 flies for good reason though.
So Barry Reynolds, him and Brad Vifus, they started carp on the fly. That guy has more carp knowledge than most of us could ever hope to have, and he knows how the whole game works. This fly is heavy enough to get down in the current. It has a thin enough actual profile that it cuts through the water column without being splashy, but it's pushy material. It undulates and makes movement. It twitches well. It's super durable. I probably caught more carp on this fly than just about any fly on the planet. I went to a local park this morning before work and caught carp on this fly. If you want to catch carp on the fly, you have to have this in your box. Barry knows the game, and I trust him.
Yep. Caught a carp on that this weekend. Barry's carp fly doesn't let me down, that's for sure. Plus, it's not olive.
There's no olive in this 5 flies, Yvonne.
I know, it's great. It's the best. Fly number 5.
Fly number 5. This is Andrew Grillos' great Carpolio. As a kid, I loved Beavis and Butthead, and I think Andrew Grillos might be the only bigger Mike Judge fan in the fly fishing world than maybe me. It's a tribute to a great cartoon, and it catches fish. It's tied on a jig hook, so great jigging action. It's actually tied on a super beefy saltwater style hook, so no concerns of straightening the hook out. Nice barbell eyes for weight. This spun deer hair head pushes just enough water so when you're doing subtle carp presentations, you get some movement without being spooky. The rubber legs have a ton of movement. It's kind of like a hybrid of the Barry's carp fly and the Tungsten Jig Bugger all in one on a beefier hook. In the GoPro videos, there was a pretty big carp that I caught, and he absolutely crushed this. And I'd normally be a little concerned on some of the wire on some other carp hooks out there. I had no worry about this. When it's stuck in the mouth, it's stuck in the mouth. It's not coming out.
I am Cornelio.
Great Carpolio, do you think my mom won't let me fish this?
It is rated PG-13, parental guidance.
Might be rough for 12-year-old Ivan.
Yeah, you might have to like sneak out after they've gone to bed, and then you can fish it, and then tell them that you were sleeping soundly.
There's a couple of our younger customers out there who we won't be able to sell this to.
Yeah,
that's what I've heard. That's rumor on the street. So,
I mean, MTV was a different place back then, so you get away with a lot more questionable content without an advisory in the '90s.
Indeed. All right, so that's the 5 flies for May. Rick, certainly appreciate you getting out there and capturing some footage.
You know what, Ivan? Anytime.
I know this. You're always volunteering. I like it. So, all right, appreciate you guys. Also, this is coming out on the 8th, which is Friday, right? It's Friday. This is Friday. The 9th. We're gonna be open again, right, Rick?
Yeah, we're still ironing out the details, but we will have. Keep in mind, it's going to be different and it's going to be very limited. We have your safety and the employees' safety as our number one priority, but you will have the ability to, in some form, come and visit us in the shop, and we look forward to seeing you. Just stay safe, stay healthy, but we look forward to seeing you as you come in and getting things back to having fun on the water is the primary focus.
Yeah. We will have those details ironed out by the time this is out. So we'll leave the link to those details in the description here, both on the post and on the blog and on YouTube. So certainly looking forward to opening back up in some way, shape, or form, and looking forward to seeing you guys in the shop and helping you guys get out on the water. So thanks again for all the support. Thanks to Rick for snagging that GoPro stuff, and we'll have a good May.